My name is Eugene Parker, and I'm 74 years old, sitting here in my Raleigh home trying to rebuild my shattered dignity after discovering that my 19-year-old grandson Tyler had been secretly drugging my evening tea with sleeping pills for weeks, then filming me in humiliating states of undress and confusion while I was unconscious, posting these degrading videos online under the title Crazy Grandpa to gain followers and likes for his social media accounts. For months, I couldn't understand why neighbors were staring at me strangely and why former friends were avoiding me, until someone finally showed me the viral videos that had turned me into an internet laughingstock while I had no memory of any of it happening. I'd love to know where you're listening from today, so please share your location in the comments below. And if this story moves you, I hope you'll consider subscribing, because what happened to me shows how social media can turn our most vulnerable moments into entertainment, and how even family members can exploit elderly people for online fame. Let me start by telling you about the grandson I thought I knew, so you can understand how devastating it was to discover that the young man I had raised and loved was capable of such calculated cruelty. Tyler is my daughter Rebecca's son, a bright, charismatic teenager who had always been the light of my life, and my pride and joy since his father left when Tyler was only 8 years old. After my wife Martha passed away from Alzheimer's disease 3 years ago, Tyler became my closest companion, and the person I look forward to seeing most. Rebecca works long hours as a nurse practitioner and often has to work weekends and holidays. So Tyler would come stay with me regularly, helping with household tasks and providing the companionship that made my golden years bearable. I thought Tyler enjoyed our time together as much as I did. We would watch old movies, work on crossword puzzles, tend my garden, and share stories about family history and my experiences growing up in a different era. Tyler seemed genuinely interested in learning about his heritage and hearing about the adventures I had during my 40 years working as a telephone lineman. Tyler was also helpful with technology that I struggled to understand, setting up my smartphone, helping me navigate streaming services, and teaching me how to video chat with distant relatives. I was grateful for his patience and technical expertise, and I felt blessed to have such a caring grandson who was willing to spend time with an old man who wasn't always quick to learn new things. But I didn't realize that Tyler's generation had grown up in a digital world where viral fame and social media followers were more valuable than relationships and respect for others. I didn't understand that to young people like Tyler, creating content for online platforms was more important than treating family members with dignity and love. Tyler had been trying to build a following on various social media platforms for over a year, creating videos about his daily life, his thoughts on current events, and his attempts to become popular online. But despite his efforts, he wasn't gaining the kind of attention and followers that he desperately craved, and he was becoming increasingly frustrated with his lack of online success. I was aware that Tyler spent a lot of time on his phone and that he was interested in social media, but I didn't understand the pressure that young people feel to become internet famous or the lengths they might go to in order to create viral content. I thought his phone usage was just typical teenage behavior and didn't recognize it as an obsession that could lead to harmful actions. Looking back, I can see warning signs that I missed at the time. Tyler would sometimes film me without my knowledge, claiming he was just taking pictures or videos to remember our time together. He would ask me to do silly things or say funny phrases, telling me it was just for family memories or to share with his mother. Tyler also began showing more interest in my evening routine, offering to make my tea and insisting that I relax while he took care of household tasks. I was touched by his thoughtfulness and grateful for the help, especially since my arthritis made some activities more difficult and painful than they used to be. My evening tea had become a cherished ritual that helped me wind down from the day and prepare for sleep. I had developed this habit during Martha's illness, when the stress and worry of caregiving made it difficult for me to relax naturally. Tyler knew how important this routine was to me and seemed eager to help by preparing the tea and making sure I was comfortable. But what I didn't know was that Tyler had been researching sleeping medications and their effects on elderly people. He had learned that certain over-the-counter sleep aids could be dissolved in hot liquids without changing the taste or appearance, and that elderly people were particularly susceptible to the sedating effects of these drugs. Tyler began experimenting with small doses of sleeping medication in my tea, started with amounts that would make me drowsy but not completely unconscious. He was testing my reactions and learning how much medication, he could give me without causing obvious harm or making me suspicious about why I was feeling unusually tired. As Tyler increased the dosage over several weeks, I began experiencing what I thought were normal signs of aging: increased fatigue, difficulty concentrating, memory problems, and periods of confusion that I attributed to grief over Martha's death and the natural decline that comes with getting older. I mentioned these symptoms to my doctor during a routine visit, but since they seemed consistent with normal aging and I wasn't experiencing any acute medical problems, we decided to monitor the situation rather than pursue extensive testing. I never suspected that my symptoms were being caused by someone deliberately drugging me. Tyler was carefully documenting my reactions to different doses of medication, learning how to render me unconscious without causing permanent harm. He was planning his social media content systematically, researching what types of videos went viral and what kinds of elderly-focused content received the most engagement online. The drugging and filming began in earnest during March 2023, when Tyler started giving me enough medication to make me completely unconscious for several hours at a time. During these periods, he would position cameras around my bedroom and living areas, then manipulate my unconscious body into embarrassing and humiliating positions. Tyler filmed me in various states of undress, posed me in compromising positions, and recorded himself making me appear to say and do things that I would never do while conscious. He used editing software to create the impression that I was a confused, senile old man who engaged in bizarre and inappropriate behavior. The videos that Tyler created were designed to be funny and shocking, playing into stereotypes about elderly people being confused, helpless, and ridiculous. He presented me as a crazy grandfather whose strange behavior was amusing rather than concerning, encouraging viewers to laugh at my apparent mental decline and odd actions. Tyler posted these videos on multiple social media platforms under accounts with names like Crazy Grandpa Adventures and Wild Grandpa Eugene. He used hashtags related to elderly humor, family comedy, and viral content to maximize the visibility of his posts and attract followers who enjoyed laughing at elderly people. The videos quickly gained traction and began going viral, with thousands of views, shares, and comments from people who found my apparent behavior hilarious. Tyler was finally getting the social media attention he had been craving, and he was motivated to create even more extreme and humiliating content to maintain his online popularity. Over the course of several weeks, Tyler produced dozens of videos featuring my drugged and unconscious body, each one designed to be more outrageous and shareable than the last. He filmed me appearing to dance badly, make nonsensical statements, wear ridiculous costumes, and engage in behaviors that painted me as a foolish, senile old man. The popularity of Tyler's videos grew exponentially, and he began to gain significant numbers of followers across multiple platforms. People were sharing his content widely, and he was receiving positive feedback and encouragement from viewers who enjoyed his grandfather comedy series. But while Tyler was building his online fame, I was living with the effects of being regularly drugged without my knowledge. I was experiencing increased confusion, memory problems, and fatigue that I couldn't explain. I felt like I was losing my mental sharpness and worried that I might be developing dementia like Martha had. I also began noticing that people in my community were treating me differently. Neighbors who had always been friendly started avoiding eye contact and seemed uncomfortable when they saw me. Former friends stopped calling or visiting, and I felt increasingly isolated and confused about why my social connections were deteriorating. Cashiers at stores where I had shopped for years began looking at me strangely and sometimes seemed to be suppressing laughter when they saw me. I couldn't understand why people were reacting to me differently, and I started to worry that my behavior was becoming odd or inappropriate in ways that I wasn't aware of. The social isolation and strange reactions from people in my community were deeply troubling and contributed to my growing concern about my mental health. I began to withdraw from social activities and public outings because I was afraid that I was doing something embarrassing or inappropriate without realizing it. I scheduled another appointment with my doctor to discuss my increasing confusion and the apparent changes in how people were responding to me. I was worried that I might be showing early signs of dementia and needed professional evaluation to understand what was happening to my mind and behavior. But before I could attend that appointment, the truth about Tyler's activities was revealed in the most devastating way possible. Mrs. Henderson, my elderly neighbor who had been a close friend of Martha's, came to my house with her tablet computer to show me something that she said I needed to see. Mrs. Henderson had discovered Tyler's videos through her own grandchildren, who had been sharing them on social media and laughing about the crazy old man in the viral videos. When she realized that the person being humiliated was her neighbor and friend, she was horrified and immediately came to inform me about what was happening. Watching those videos was one of the most devastating experiences of my life. I saw myself in compromising positions, appearing to say and do things that I had no memory of, presented as entertainment for thousands of strangers who were laughing at my apparent mental decline and bizarre behavior. The videos showed me in states of undress, appearing confused and disoriented, engaging in activities that made me look foolish and senile. The comment sections were filled with people mocking my appearance, making jokes about elderly people, and expressing amusement at what they thought was my natural behavior. I realized that for weeks, Tyler had been drugging me into unconsciousness and then filming my helpless body for social media content. The grandson I had loved and trusted had been systematically humiliating me for online fame, turning my vulnerability into entertainment for strangers on the internet. The betrayal was complete and devastating. Not only had Tyler violated my body and dignity by drugging and filming me without consent, but he had also destroyed my reputation in the community and subjected me to public humiliation on a massive scale. Thousands of people had seen me in compromising positions and believed that I was mentally incompetent. When I confronted Tyler about the videos, his response was casual and dismissive rather than apologetic or remorseful. He told me that it was just harmless fun and that I should be proud that the videos had made him internet famous. He seemed genuinely surprised that I was upset and acted like I was overreacting to what he considered innocent entertainment. Tyler claimed that he hadn't hurt me and that the sleeping medication was harmless. He said that lots of people on social media made funny videos about their relatives and that I should appreciate being part of his online success. He seemed to have no understanding of the violation and humiliation he had inflicted on me. When I demanded that Tyler remove the videos immediately, he refused, saying that they were too popular and were helping him build his social media career. He told me that taking them down would destroy all the progress he had made in gaining followers and that he couldn't sacrifice his online success for my comfort. I was shocked by Tyler's complete lack of remorse and his refusal to acknowledge the harm he had caused. The young man I had raised and loved was treating me like a prop in his entertainment career, rather than as a human being deserving of respect and dignity. I immediately contacted Rebecca to tell her what Tyler had done and to demand that she force him to remove the videos and stop his exploitation of my unconscious body. But Rebecca's response was almost as devastating as Tyler's behavior, as she seemed more concerned about protecting her son from consequences than addressing the harm he had caused. Rebecca suggested that I was overreacting and that Tyler's videos were just harmless teenage pranks that had gotten out of hand. She said that Tyler was a good kid who had made a mistake and that I should forgive him rather than causing family drama over something that wasn't really that serious. When I tried to explain the extent of the humiliation and violation I had experienced, Rebecca dismissed my concerns and suggested that I should be proud of Tyler's creativity and online success. She seemed to view the videos as evidence of Tyler's entrepreneurial spirit rather than as documentation of elder abuse. I realized that both Tyler and Rebecca saw me as less important than Tyler's social media career, and that they were willing to sacrifice my dignity and reputation to protect his online popularity. The family I had loved and supported was treating me like my feelings and welfare didn't matter. I contacted law enforcement to report Tyler's actions, but I was told that the legal situation was complicated because the videos didn't show clear evidence of physical harm, and because proving that I had been drugged without my consent would be difficult without medical documentation from the time of the incidents. I also reached out to the social media platforms where Tyler had posted the videos, requesting that they be removed for violating terms of service related to non-consensual content and elder abuse. But the platform's responses were slow and inconsistent, with some videos being removed while others remained online. The process to try to restore my dignity and remove the humiliating content was frustrating and often unsuccessful. Even when videos were removed from one platform, they had often been downloaded and reposted by other users, making it impossible to completely eliminate the content from the internet. But something unexpected happened that would begin to change the trajectory of my story and provide hope for justice and healing. Dr. Patricia Williams, a geriatrician who specialized in elder abuse, had seen Tyler's videos and recognized them as evidence of a serious crime against a vulnerable elderly person. Dr. Williams had been researching the use of social media to exploit elderly people and had identified Tyler's videos as a clear example of elder abuse that involved drugging, non-consensual filming, and public humiliation. She reached out to me to offer her professional expertise and support in addressing what had happened. Dr. Williams helped me understand that Tyler's actions constituted serious crimes, including assault, drugging, and elder abuse, and that there were legal remedies available even if local law enforcement had been slow to respond. She connected me with attorneys who specialize in elder abuse and digital privacy violations. More importantly, Dr. Williams put me in contact with advocacy organizations that work to protect elderly people from exploitation and abuse. These groups provided both emotional support and practical assistance in dealing with the legal and social consequences of Tyler's actions. Through these advocacy organizations, I learned that I was not alone in experiencing this type of abuse, and that there were other elderly people who had been exploited by family members for social media content. This community of survivors provided understanding and support that helped me process the trauma and begin healing. The legal action that followed was complex, but ultimately successful in holding Tyler accountable for his actions and sending a message that elder abuse would not be tolerated. Tyler was charged with assault, drugging, and elder abuse, and faced potential jail time and substantial fines for his crimes. The media attention surrounding Tyler's case helped raise awareness about the vulnerability of elderly people to exploitation by family members and the need for stronger protections against digital abuse. My story became part of a larger conversation about respecting elderly people and preventing their exploitation for online entertainment. Most significantly, the advocacy work that grew out of my experience led to new policies at major social media platforms designed to prevent the posting of non-consensual content involving elderly people and to provide better mechanisms for removing exploited material quickly and permanently. Today, more than a year after discovering Tyler's videos, I'm living independently and working to rebuild my reputation and social connections in my community. While some damage can never be fully repaired, I've found purpose in advocating for other elderly people and working to prevent similar exploitation. My relationship with Tyler and Rebecca remains severed, and I've come to accept that they may never acknowledge the full extent of the harm they caused or express genuine remorse for their actions. But I've also learned that family isn't just about blood relationships, and that it's possible to build meaningful connections with people who treat you with respect and dignity. The experience taught me about the dark side of social media culture and the way that vulnerable people can be exploited for entertainment and online fame. But it also showed me that there are people willing to fight for justice and that it's possible to recover from even the most devastating betrayals and violations. That's my story. How my grandson drugged me and turned me into a viral laughingstock for social media fame, but how advocacy and legal action helped expose his crimes and protect other elderly people from similar exploitation. Sometimes the people we trust most will betray us in unimaginable ways. But sometimes justice prevails, and our worst experiences can help protect others from suffering the same harm.